All right, guys, topic of the day. I'm recording a bunch of videos today, and I wanted to talk about something that's really popular right now. And for those that don't know me, I'm a former Division I baseball player. I played at the University of South Alabama, one of the top 25 Division I programs in the country. The biggest thing for me is when it comes to bat path or hand path or launch angle or attack angle, approach angle, whatever philosophies that you want to do or want to talk about, or whatever you teach, the terminology that you use. Ultimately, I want you guys to understand this first and foremost. Everybody's trying to teach the same thing. They want everybody to hit with everybody wants to have 5 tools. They want to see you guys hitting the ball gap to gap in the middle third of the field, and they want to see you guys hit for power, okay? Now, obviously, some guys aren't going to have that natural power, but they're still wanting you guys to hit line drives and shoot for doubles for those guys that are maybe faster guys or not necessarily hitting hard. I will start with saying this. I coach in the Indiana Bulls baseball organization. I coach the top baseball players in the state of Indiana every single year. I know what the top and the best baseball players in the state of Indiana look like. I know we play the best competition there is around in the Midwest, and we go down south and play in the South. I see elite level competition as a coach. I see elite level competition and players that I coach myself, and I actually played against top level competition in the Division I level. And I have never heard a coach say, hit the ball on the ground. I have never heard a coach say, we hit ground balls, we focus on ground balls. So I'm gonna clear that up right now. I feel like right now, launch angle and the MLB network, people are talking about that. And again, I'm not saying the launch angle is bad. I'm not saying any of that stuff, because I agree with everything that everybody's saying when it comes to hitting, the bottom half of the ball on a slight upswing, which again, I talked about this in one of my reviews of this launch angle tee exactly. Ted Williams was preaching for years about the proper swing in the zone is a slight upswing, and I have a firm belief of that, and I agree with everybody that says that. We're trying to hit, right below the middle of the baseball, the bottom half of the baseball. I agree with all that stuff. The backspin tee, that mindset of trying to hit the bottom half of the ball, where you're setting the ball up on the tee, that's the actual tee is hanging down, so you only see the bottom half. I agree with all that stuff. But I want you guys to understand there's a difference between what you think you're doing and what you're actually doing. Difference between feel with the bat, okay, the feel, versus real, what's actually happening when the bat's coming through the zone. Chipper Jones came out with his book this year, Ball Player, and he was talking about how he was always talking about swinging down to the baseball to hit the baseball. He talks about in his book facing Billy Wagner throwing 100 miles an hour and actually trying to hit above the baseball and hitting a bomb against Billy Wagner. Okay, we're talking Chipper Jones, arguably the best switch hitter of all time, okay? If he says something, you sure as hell better believe I'm gonna listen to the guy, and everybody else should be listening. For me, coaches, instructors, people that are talking about all this stuff, if you disregard people or what they're saying just because their philosophies don't agree with yours, to me is BS, okay? You can learn from anybody and everybody. Now, there's obviously right ways to do things and there's wrong ways to do things. So, feel versus real. If I've got a 10-year-old in for lessons, okay, and I'm gonna talk about the philosophy of what I believe, how I teach, okay? I'm gonna talk about that here in 1 minute. But if I've got a 10-year-old who's dropping his backside, he's getting really bad bat drag and his elbows collapsing here, and he's barely making contact with the baseball, he's not strong enough, doesn't have the core stability, you might use the mindset of, hey, hit the top half of the baseball. Even though we're not trying to hit the top half of the baseball, that mental approach, that feel of trying to hit the top half helps him align and get through the baseball and stay through the baseball a little bit better, okay? Doesn't mean that we're trying to hit that top half. We're not trying to hit the top half. We never want to hit the top half of the baseball. Obviously, it's going to give us top spin or hit ground balls, and we're not trying to do that. But that's why you hear coaches say, hey, get on top. Get on top. There's nothing more annoying to me when people, even MLB guys will say, hey, I got on top of the ball. I'll do in a separate video what on top of the ball means, but understand that basically all they're saying is have timing and control the barrel. That's what they're trying to say. As long as the coach is actually telling them, hey, we're not trying to hit the top half. We're not actually hitting the top half. It's just a mindset. It's like a basketball player shooting free throws. If he's shooting and he keeps missing the back of the rim, you change your mindset, say, okay, you keep hitting the back of the rim, let's aim for the front of the rim. Boom, he starts making his free throws, okay? It's a mindset, okay? It's the feel. It doesn't mean that he's trying to hit the front of the rim. It's just allowing him, helping him to execute the goal, which is making the basket. So that's when people say get on top, that's what they mean. Now, you got coaches that obviously with the launch angle being popular right now that are trying to exaggerate this movement right here and getting the bat on plane as soon as possible and creating this huge movement back here. And again, those are kind of exaggerated movements right here, but I hear guys talking about this. And again, I coach the best players in the state of Indiana every year at the 17-year-old age level. Guys that have this huge loop in the beginning of their swing where their hands drop and they come around the baseball, even the high level, top-notch athletic guys, they're going to play, committed to play D1. I had 10 D1 commits on my team this past year, and there's a bunch more college commits to follow from that program. Those guys that have this are going to struggle. I saw them struggle this summer when they're facing elite level competition, guys that are throwing high 80s to low to mid 90s, okay? Now, what's my philosophy? I agree with everything the launch angle people are saying. I agree with everything that people are saying when you say, hey, I go down to the baseball. Here's the thing. This is how I simplify it because everybody's trying to make things so hard. My philosophy, down to it, up through it. Very simple. Down to it, up through it. The first movement needs to be quick, explosive, no wasted movements in the first movement. I teach a slot first position once I get into my separation position where the hands are slotting and the elbows are slotting, the barrel's gonna slot to that back shoulder to get ourselves in position. Think about that as a short, quick first movement, okay? You watch my other videos, you see me in college, I was a power hitter, I was a home run hitter, doubles hitter. That's what I did. I struck out my fair share of college, obviously, too. But again, I'm gonna talk about my approach and what I thought here in a minute, but down to it, quick first movement. That way we're not getting big with that first movement or flying that front shoulder and or letting the hands drop. Quick first movement, down to it, okay? And then once we start getting on plane or once I start recognizing the baseball, I'm thinking bottom half of the baseball and I'm gonna go up through the baseball, okay? Up through the baseball, meaning bottom half of the ball, driving it through. And what I mean up through it is keep that barrel in zone as long as possible, right? Up through it, contact, finish high, up through the baseball. I just hit the ball off the tee right there on accident. But that's what I'm thinking about, down to it, up through it. That's the philosophy. When guys are saying down to it, your hands start here, right? Your hands have got to come down at an angle to get the barrel in the zone where you want to go. That's what I call the slot. This movement here, you watch all elite level hitters when they get to that separation, that launch point, launch position, they get here and they're starting to slot, get that barrel right next to that shoulder, barrel comes through the zone, okay? Understand, if you're trying to teach these movements, if you're trying to teach these movement patterns, understand the strengths and weaknesses of every kid. Because the biggest epidemic, I don't think, is down on the ball, top of the ball, the bottom of the baseball. The biggest epidemic is kids are weak as hell. They're not strong enough. They're not athletic enough, so they can't control the barrel. The sooner you can get kids getting stronger, aka the weight room, aka push-ups, pull-ups, getting strong enough to control the barrel, that's when they're going to make themselves better, okay? Baseball's been a great game for a long period of time. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We do have the technology to actually see us and give us feedback, and I believe in all the diamond kinetic stuff and the hit tracks and actually seeing how you're doing, because then you can understand, hey, this is what it feels like when I'm actually hitting the ball the proper right way. My attack angle is the right way, and the launch angle of the baseball is the right way. This is what it feels like. So then you can put that mind-muscle connection together in your swing. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. So again, this is my opinion. This is how I teach. I'm constantly learning and constantly adjusting how I teach. I agree with a lot of things that coaches are saying, but I feel like there's too much condescension among coaches to other coaches, and there's not enough good influencers when it comes to guys running their mouths about other coaches or talking, especially social media. If people are running their mouths on social media, I don't really consider themselves real men. You got more important things to do than argue with somebody on social media. Teach the game the right way, execute the game the right way, help each other out. If you have a friendly discussion in person with somebody about teaching how to approach the baseball correctly, okay? This is Coach Laird. Down to it, up through it. It's how I teach the bat path, kind of an idea, a little bit of my take on all the popularity of the launch angle and getting on top of the ball and what other people are saying, kind of my take on things. Hopefully it solves some things for you guys. Again, if you like it, that's great. Take it with it, run with it, do what you want with it. If you don't like it, You don't have to watch the video, guys. Make sure you guys like it. Make sure you guys subscribe. See you later.